Hey friends, Paul Gray saying, welcome to our fifth day, final day this week of our little mini-series called 50-20 Vision, where Joseph said to his brothers who'd betrayed him, he said, I know you guys meant it for evil. It was not a good thing for me, but I also know God has used it for good. God is working all things for the good. And that's what God wants us to be able to see in every situation in our life, even horrific things. And maybe we can't do this right at the moment, but he certainly wants us to, as soon as we can, get to the point where we see and we focus on and we start to look for the fact that God is continually working in every situation, everywhere, to bring about his goodwill, which is the restoration of all things, making everyone and everything like we were initially in the Garden of Eden before the fall in our relationship with God. Now, bad things happen all the time. Big things like the Texas church shooting or the even bigger shooting in Las Vegas and stuff, those things happen. And things happen to us individually that are big to us. Somebody maybe is insensitive to us. Somebody forgets what we like and we don't like. Somebody hurts us, somebody offends us, somebody criticizes us, condemns us, puts us down. Stuff happens, doesn't it? Now, what we do with that stuff, how we view that situation and what we do with it, makes all the difference in the world in how our lives go, in what our attitude is, and what our emotions are. And focusing on the wrong thing actually is very harmful to our health, our physical health. See, with any and every situation, God wants us to get to the point as quickly as we can where we start to look for him working all things for the good, even in that situation, by ultimately restoring everybody to the right relationship with God. A given situation may hurt. We may be sad. But when we give it to God and trust him and lift the situation up and let things go, and release the other person who hurt us from anything we may think they owe us from hurting us, then we get to where we experience God's peace and his joy instead of depression and sadness and anger. See, if we don't do that, if we dwell on the negative, if we take that offense in and wallow in it and mull it over in our mind and continue to think about it and don't let it go, we will become bitter. We'll want the other person to pay and suffer. We'll play the victim card. We may get angry, certainly get depressed. We'll blame the other person for our sadness. And what we're doing is we're actually repeating that cycle of hurt, of evil. But the good news is we don't have to do that. We can let it go, release it, give it to God, choose to release the other person from anything we think they owe us for hurting us. We can decide to let that go. And we can instead focus on the truth that God is continually working in every situation, everywhere, to bring about his goodwill, the restoration of all things. We can trust God for all of this. So I want to encourage you, and I'm talking to myself too, let's start to look for little things that he's doing, even in a bad situation. And let's rejoice in how that's part of the restoration of all things, which is God's ultimate goal. And he will be successful. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.